I used to think business plans were a massive waste of time, just a big pile of paperwork, until I started approaching them differently. And now I'm a little bit obsessed with planning. In fact, I kind of look forward to doing it. It's a whole thing. I'd like to share what I do for my process to stay accountable and productive with you, for you to criticize, feel inspired by, or even, steal from it if you want. My name's Kevin. I'm a startup founder bootstrapping my own company. If you want to learn more about my work, check out the link below. Let's hop into it. So my planning system has a few goals, right? It's not necessarily to just create paperwork for the sake of paperwork, or creating a business plan just to say you have a business plan. The goal of a document like this is actually to create something that's useful, like an actual tool that you use on almost a daily basis. For me, my business plan serves as a blueprint for answering questions about why I should do things and when I should do them and what those things are supposed to be. Before we hop into the nuts and bolts of putting the plan together, I just want to kind of briefly talk about kind of the format, kind of what the process looks like. So for me, I set aside at least a day every single quarter, usually near the end of the quarter, to sit down and walk through my business and put this entire plan together. I find a quarter is a good cadence because every 90 days or so, there's enough that happens in that period of time that I need to make a shift or pivot, or everything in the plan that I put out wasn't perfect. So I need to make adjustments, and 90 days is kind of a good checkpoint to kind of reset the document moving forward. Now I store everything in a Google Doc. That's kind of my style. Let's hop into the different sections of the document, kind of what I think about and what I'm putting into those things. And hopefully by the end, you have something that's a little actionable for your business or whatever, steal what makes sense for you. The first section in my document is what I call the statement of identity. This is where I capture the mission, the vision, and I write a short paragraph kind of describing the days ahead. So the mission and vision for me haven't really changed much, but I keep it in the document as a good reminder of this is why I exist. For Tetheros, the mission is to destroy bureaucracy and accelerate productive teamwork with innovative digital solutions. And the vision for the company is to become the most powerful platform for professional collaboration. The statement, the little paragraph that I add after that in the statement of identity, outlines what I'm expecting to do at a high level. If I was to take everything in this document and summarize it into 2 or 3 sentences, that's what this paragraph serves as. This little paragraph part is something that I'm coming back and tuning at the end to try to capture all the stuff that I think through throughout the whole process. The next section of my document is goals. I read a book a few years ago called Measure What Matters by John Doerr, where he outlines a structure, a framework called OKRs, objectives and key results. And I've since adopted it for almost everything I do in my business and things I do in my personal life. I'm not gonna cover the whole framework here, but the idea is that you just kind of say what you want to do with an objective, and then you outline a few proof of the pudding things, key results, to show that you achieved that objective or that you worked towards it. It's easiest to understand with an example, so let me read one from an old business plan that I have. So for Tetheros, one of my OKRs, the objective, the O, was position Tetheros for a launch party. And the 3 key results that I outlined, 1 was to have 60 active monthly network users, 2, to deploy an integration with Stripe, and 3, to prepare for incorporation by reading some documentation that I have here. Those key results kind of anchor what I'm doing, which is what the whole section of this document does. Is I'm kind of spending most of my time here outlining different OKRs for different aspects of the business. They help me make decisions about what to do with everything else that follows in the document. The next section of my plan is the product section. Now, I'm a startup founder building a software product. So when I say product, it's a literal product. Every quarter, I revise the product roadmap to reflect a lot of things that I've learned over the last 90 days and a lot of things that I want to achieve in the days to come. And this is a kind of a mixture of feedback from customers, from the vision of the product itself. And the items I lay out in this product roadmap on the document are half strategic, half tactical. And it kind of depends on what goes there. The point of having it in the document in the first place is to help me see exactly where I'm going with the product. There's a lot of ways to do a product roadmap, especially for software. And you could talk to experts who would tell me I'm doing it all wrong. But I have it in my business plan to help me stay accountable to where I want to go. Because if I have some shiny thing that comes up in the next 90 days, I should filter it through this list. Does it make sense based on the roadmap that I'm building? There's kind of 4 things that I try to incorporate in the roadmap. There's the basic customer requirements, like things to keep them happy. There's, big bugs and problems with the software that I think need to be addressed. There's requests from customers, especially ones that are paying. And there's kind of these big 10x bets that you should take with product, like they might not pay off, but if they do, it's like hitting the jackpot. The next section of my plan is the marketing and brand section. Now, for me, I take this section and I break it out into different channels, different marketing channels, different ways that I'm building awareness of the work that I'm doing. For example, I have an entire section dedicated to my own LinkedIn personal profile, because building my personal brand is a big part of my strategy for bringing people onto the Tetheros platform. For each channel, I determine a purpose. Am I trying to generate leads? Am I trying to generate awareness? Am I trying to get people to convert in some sort of way? Every channel, from blogs to YouTube channels to LinkedIn profiles to the landing page, I try to address at a high level, what is the purpose of that? And then I lay out the activities that I want to perform over the next 90 days. And these aren't the key results of the goals from earlier, but more like, how am I going to actually achieve a 3% conversion rate? What are the activities that I think I need to do? Well, maybe I need to update my photography. Maybe I need a new product video. Maybe I need to launch some sort of walkthrough documentation to do that. All of that are the kinds of things that I capture for each of those marketing channels. The business plan here helps me think about the habits that I need to be successful in marketing and brand. The next section for me could look a lot different for other companies that are in a different position than me, but it's financial. Now, I'm a pre-revenue, bootstrapped, startup, software as a service company. So I'm not bringing in a lot of money. I'm spending a lot more than I'm making right now. Much of the money stuff that I'm doing happens in my bookkeeping software, but in the section on the business plan, I try to address the questions like, am I in a good place financially speaking for like where I want to go? Are there any major investments I want to make in the next 90 days? Am I paying for anything right now that I shouldn't be paying for? And how solid and ready is my product to go to market? I also have a short paragraph in there talking about kind of my philosophy around spending, and to remind me, I'm super frugal, but like to remind me that it's okay to spend money, because if you're spending money on things that give you a return, that's a good investment. It's not just wasting money. The next section in my document is positioning. Now, I use a philosophy from the Blue Ocean strategy mindset, which is to answer 4 different questions about the business. 1, what do I want to create? 2, what do I want to reduce? 3, what do I want to remove? And 4, what do I want to improve? I take those 4 quadrants and I start putting ideas in those buckets. And this helps me figure out, as a company or as a brand, how do I want to stand out from everybody else? Like, what am I doing that's unique? What are other people doing that I don't want to do? And what am I doing today that I want to get better at? For example, maybe I was posting a lot on Twitter in the last 90 days and the results just weren't there. But maybe I identified that as something I wanted to create or improve last quarter. And now I might say, you know what, I'm going to reduce or even remove that, because the data is just not supporting that is a worthwhile activity. That's one example. So I kind of take that philosophy from the Blue Ocean strategy and apply it at a very micro level of the business. This positioning section on the business plan helps me talk about what I'm doing more intelligently to other people, because I start to form an original thought positioning about like what I think about my business, and when I tell people like what makes it special, I now have a little more clarity in that answer. So before I talk about my last section, I'd like to just address maybe the elephant in the room here, which is like, there's sections in this business plan that a lot of people probably have that I don't have. Things like, sales or leadership development or organizational health or partnerships that you may have with influencers or consumers, and even customer relationship management. And these are all important things. The stage where my business is at today doesn't really warrant me putting a lot of time into that to include it in the business plan that I'm talking about being a useful tool on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so the last section is super fun. After I've kind of really locked down what I want in the other sections, I start to put together my next moves. And these are like the 10 to 15 to 20 different big activities that I'm going to be doing in a particular order to achieve the 90-day ideas, the OKRs, and be successful. This is taking everything from the positioning. This is taking everything from the OKRs. This is talking about all the marketing, branding, financial, everything, and boiling it down into a set of extremely tactical ways to achieve those things. I do my best to order that, to give myself a really high level view. It's extremely gratifying to sit down and cross things out as you accomplish them. That's the little steps that it takes to be successful. I talk about success in a way that it happens 1 week at a time. It doesn't happen all at once. So the more that you can kind of crush those things little by little by little by little, it adds up. And hopefully at the end of it all, you're a lot closer to where you want to be. Now, if you're interested, I made a video all about that. You can watch that here. But the point is, this section of the business plan is in a very tactical, wrap your arms around type content that I look at on a almost daily basis to figure out what I'm doing next. Now, I plan my weeks on Sunday nights. And a big part of that is checking in with where I'm at in the business plan, because I don't have the time to pour over the metrics and the data and the positioning statements and try to, outline and download what I'm supposed to be doing to get where I need to go next. But this 15 moves that I have outlined is a very clear way to know where I'm at on the big picture roadmap of my business. Great. So now you have a business plan. What's the next thing? How do you actually use it? What are you supposed to do? Well, I do a few things. First, I print out a physical copy and I keep it on my desk. And it's something that I'm constantly, drawing on and writing all over, scratching things out because I'm using it as a living document. It's a real life tool. When I sit down to do my quarterly planning in the next quarter, I'm referring to the notes that I make throughout the quarter on this physical copy. The physical copy is also a reminder. It's super easy to see. It's on my desk. It's just like top of the stack of most things because I'm honestly looking at it all the time, and it being there makes it really easy to stumble upon. The next thing I do with this thing is when I plan my week on Sunday night, like I mentioned, I reference not only the 15 moves, but anything else inside the document that I might need to figure out what am I going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to move towards my goals. What are those activities I outlined? What are the key results in the OKRs that I need to pay attention to because maybe we're coming up halfway and I'm not really that close to where I need to be on those? So overall, the business plan is an excellent tool for accountability because it forces me to think about my business in a different way, to put things in categories, and to look at the progress I'm making in real time. So I hope that some of this was helpful, useful, inspiring, insightful, entertaining, I don't know, whatever. If you have any questions about business planning or what to put or what you're thinking about putting in there, leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. Otherwise, I have nothing else for you. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.